Hello and welcome everybody to another ownership report. Today we have um, the incredible, pun intended, Shrii here. Our next MetaDAO raise. They just announced their raise just a couple of minutes ago, so I'm very excited to cover it now. And I just want to welcome Shrii up on stage. Hey man, how you doing? Can you guys hear me by the way, or is my sound good?
Yes, I think we can hear you very well. Great, but thanks for having me again.
All right. And he said again because we did film a podcast not too long ago, which is coming out very soon. So, guys, stay tuned for the podcast as well. For now, let's just get right into the details of the raise. Shri, if you could just break down in 2 minutes before we get into the details of the raise, what Credible is in 2 minutes to somebody who's never heard of Credible, somebody who's not very familiar about the payments and how those things work. I'd
Yeah,
love to hear
absolutely.
like a quick rundown of it.
Sure. So Credible is a payment service provider, just like Stripe. What we focus on is enabling US businesses get access to emerging markets like India, Nigeria, Vietnam, and so on. And we enable US businesses to, like collect money locally in these countries and then get settled in US dollar on the same day. So that's what Credible does. We work with interesting type of businesses like prediction markets, creator platforms, trading platforms, and so on, and that makes us even more exciting.
Amazing. Okay, so now that we know what Credible is, I think we can go into detail about how the raise is structured. So, um, what are the terms for the raise? Like, what market cap, what fully diluted valuation are you guys raising at, and how are the allocations going to be calculated?
Right. So we are, raising at a maximum cap of 9 million in terms of valuation, and our minimum raise goal is 2 million. Based on how much capital gets committed and so on, and what is our valuation cap. We essentially are gonna accept the amount. We are looking at least more than 50% of the company to be available to the community for ownership, and that's how much we are putting directly on MetaDAO.
And how are the allocations calculated? Like, is there any um, preferences, like anybody's whitelisted that get preferential allocations, or is it going to
We
be
have
everybody gets the same opportunity?
Right. So we have some liquid pre-allocations or whitelist, you can say. But everyone enters at the same valuation, including the funds, the VCs, as well as retail. There is no separate valuation or separate terms for anyone. In terms of allocation, based on the whitelisting mechanism, the whitelisted LPs will get the confirmed allocation, whereas for others it will be allocation based on how much total commits are.
So, what's the allocation amount, or do we have any information about the allocation that retail gets, or ones that these whitelisted wallets? Like, what's the ratio between these two?
So I would say the ratio is pretty much 50-50. So the retail allocation versus whitelisted allocation is 50-50 of our maximum raise amount.
Okay, and how about the team allocation? How are you guys thinking about that? What is the team allocation, and what percentage, and how are the unlocks calculated? And I would love to hear a little bit more about the reasoning on why you think this sort of vesting mechanism makes sense for you guys. So yeah.
Yeah, so the team allocation is 20%. This includes team and founders, everyone basically on our side. And the unlocks or the vesting depends on the FDV growth. So we have a milestone based rewards, like at 2x, 6x, and so on. up to 32x. So when the valuation or the FDV grows to 32x, that's when we essentially get the full unlock for the team and the founders.
Was that something that you've always thought about, that sort of allocation? Because I
I
think
think
MetaDAO is the first like launchpad where that was available or widely used. So, what was your first reaction when you read that
I think
the team
to be
allocation
honest,
would be connected to FTV?
yes. So I'll tell you, like, my thought of this is one, it is very motivating for the founders and team. Also, it has a vested success for community as well as for the team. In addition to this, like, the way we have set our launch FDV is actually at a very discounted valuation. That gives us, the confidence that we will achieve these milestones, pretty quickly, compared to, like something that would look unrealistic if, let's say, we launch at a very high FDV. So by launching at a discounted FDV, let's say a max cap of 9 million, we are pretty confident that we can, we can easily match these requirements in a very near future.
And talking about FTV, what was the reasoning behind the market cap and the FTV that you guys chose? Are you guys a revenue generating company? What are your revenues like? And
Yeah.
yeah.
So we are doing a gross revenue of, let's say, average 250K a month. We have done so far about 1.7 million since last 7.5 months now, and we are, growing at around 20% month over month. Uh, Although, like, we are revenue generating, but the business is very operationally, expensive, because it's like a merchant on record and infra based kind of setup with acquirers and banks and so on. So that's where most of the cost goes in. Founders are not really taking any salary as of now, but our team, of course, they get salary. We intend to, get paid as, the business grows and so on, and that's how we are essentially that's how essentially we are planning to keep our, let's say, revenue focus, and accruing this revenue also into the treasury, and like, these are the plans basically that we have for the FTV and revenue locking.
Will the revenue flow to the treasury at launch, or will there be like a
Yeah.
buffer period, like I don't know, maybe like a month or so?
No, I don't think so. There is a buffer period as such. Like, essentially, the idea is, as soon as we start, making revenue beyond our burn, we start adding it to our treasury.
Oh, okay, very good. That sounds amazing. And I also want to know a little bit about for anybody who's new to MetaDAO, or anybody who's listening, like what was and we kind of talked about this on a podcast, but I think it's good that we talk about it again on what it was like to choose MetaDAO and why you wanted to go down this route.
So one thing that, I believe in, and because I've been in Web3 for some time now, and coming from traditional centralized, payment as well as other form of fintech businesses, I think I strongly believe that payments should be more like open and available to all the founders or other startups building in the fintech space or stablecoin space. Credible becomes more like a foundation layer. We call it the open payment stack for anyone else to build a neobank, a wallet system, or a payment gateway on top of us. And like, we envision ourselves more like, Linux foundation for payments. And to go this route, becoming, like, owned by the community is important. And that's where, we thought, okay, MetaDAO is the best way to give the ownership to the community. Builders who are building on top of Credible, as well as other, people who understand how the tokenization works, or how the entire token system works, get them an opportunity to participate and own Credible.
And you know, I think Lasso was the last raise that was super successful. And I'm wondering, and you know, when they announced the ICO, they already announced a proposal that was going to go up very soon after the ICO. Do you guys have any plans for any proposals as such? Um, or are you guys just focused on other things at the moment?
Mm, I'm not aware of what Lasso's proposal is, first of all. Didn't know this until now. We don't have any such plans. Like, we're not putting out any, like specific proposal other than the allowance. And the way we are prepared is like, as of now, 50% of our, burn will be covered by our own revenue, and 50% would be covered by the allowance. So that's how we have positioned ourselves. And we are a very organically growing business. We get a lot of inbound, and the way we look at it is, even if we want to slow, we need to slow down for some time because of, let's say, any cash flow requirements or any regulatory uncertainties or anything like that. We don't mind. That doesn't make us, like, that doesn't give us any losses. It just slows us down. That's it. So that's how, like, we positioned ourselves. And I think in the future, if anything comes out of the box which is not planned, then we will definitely put out a proposal.
What are you guys' revenue sources? Are you guys planning to expand those revenue sources? And let's say, of every dollar that you settle, how much you charge and how much you actually keep after the costs,
Right.
right? Like the take rate.
Right. So uh, we have different tiers on different risk metrics. As you know, we work with unconventional businesses. We call them modern businesses, basically. And depending upon what is the risk of the business, we charge anywhere between 3% to 6%, which is the gross fees. And then we have to pay the banking partners, the acquiring partners, then the MORs and so on, the merchant on records and so on. And in the end, blended, we keep around 20 bips from the entire transaction on an average. And currently, we are doing approximately like 250K monthly revenue. And we are anticipating to grow this as we are onboarding more and more like MORs, more and more clients, as well as we are like expanding into new markets. Like we are currently onboarding a couple of new Southeast Asian countries, and we also like right now we are very US focused, but we are also going to enable access for merchants from Europe. So these are some of the markets that we are entering, and also Canada is in the pipeline by end of the year. So these are the new market expansions, and with new market access, we get basically new payment method access and new currency access, and that automatically grows the volume for us, and that leads to better revenue.
Is that revenue in stable coins, like, or is that fiat? Uh, I'm just wondering if there's any way, to track it on chain, or if there's going to be any ways that uh, holders may be able to, have maybe a dashboard where we could track this information.
Transactions, yes, because the way we operate is we do settlements to the merchants in the form of stablecoin. Even if, let's say, the end merchant wants US dollar, the transaction to US dollar happens in stablecoins. So you can definitely track the transaction volume. Currently, it is available on Dune. You can check it out on dune.com/stats/credible. I'll send a link to you later. Then you can publish it, and essentially, I think that's the main way. The revenue itself is not always locked in stablecoin, but like it's a mix, because depending upon what is the form of payment method, who is acquiring, the acquirer settles it sometimes in US dollars, sometimes in local currencies, sometimes in USDC. So depending upon that, we essentially like keep track of the revenue. But transaction volume you can always track, and you can do the math to get access to understanding of how much the revenue would be.
And how are you guys acquiring these merchants? Like, through what channels, and how long until a new merchant pays back? Uh, their acquisition costs, like a CAC payback
Yeah.
period?
Yeah. So the way we acquire merchants are, three things. Like one is, we have domain expertise in certain, like areas, and we are getting, like inbound leads from there. And when we are entering new space, like for example, prediction market was a new space for us, we always look for, let's say, a relatively new business, a relatively smaller volume business, learn working with them the nitty gritties of that particular domain, how it works, what kind of pain to payout ratio is, what kind of chargeback ratio is, what kind of risks are involved in terms of the underwriting and so on. And once we feel our system is mature enough, then we onboard the bigger player in the same, domain. So that's where we are like that's how basically we decide on onboarding the merchants. In addition to this, like we have a lot of filtering mechanism. For instance, we don't work with any client, even if it is in high risk. A client who is not regulated, not licensed, we don't work with them. Anyone who is not having, like at least 2 years of working history, we don't work with them. Anyone who is not having, let's say, a good pain to payout ratio, like for example, if you're a creator platform, you're collecting money from the customers, but you are paying the creators maybe just 5% of total money collected, then we will not onboard you. You should be paying at least 50% to the creators who are creating on your platform. So these are certain, like checklists that we have internally in order to qualify a merchant as a good merchant, and only then we onboard them. So these are the ways we, operate. uh, in terms of reaching out to the merchants, I think in-person events, these are some of the things which has helped a lot. And also our personal, like social network has helped a lot. But as we scale, we will, start doing outbound reach as well. Currently in the company, it's just me and one junior guy who is, doing both sales and account management for each client. And we have 14 live clients right now, and we have a pipeline of 30 plus, clients who already signed the contract, and are going to go live in next, let's say, 60 to 90 days. So we are, doing a lot. So we will be hiring some people for doing the account management and like onboarding processes and all that on the client side.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue to my next question, which is, uh, after this raise, right? What are you guys' plans with the money? Like, uh, the monthly budget, the runway. How are you guys planning and thinking about this? You already mentioned that you want to hire some people, but I'm wondering if there's any other big plans, any other investments in particular areas that you guys are already eyeing.
Yeah. So right now we have US MSB. We plan to get a Canadian MSB. That is, on the licensing front. Plus, we want to have a dedicated transaction monitoring setup. Currently, we are relying on outsourced setup. In terms of hiring people, like I would say, from the total burn that we have monthly, or even like in today's date, we only spend say 30-35% of our burn on salaries or on people. Majority of it goes towards the, banking infrastructure, merchant on record infrastructure, that kind of a setup. uh, and we intend to set up more, MORs, merchant on records, because that gives us access to, like more, ability to do more volumes. So that's where most of the capital is going to go. In addition to this, we plan to open a couple of more emerging markets like Vietnam, Nigeria, Indonesia, Philippines. So these are, emerging markets. Vietnam, we have already done some pilots, and we are going to scale more on, Vietnam. So that's where I would say most of the capital is gonna go. And we, like we are very patient in general as founders as well as company. So we are not very aggressive, and we are still getting pretty decent, volume as well. So we want to go step by step. We strongly believe that, when you enter a new domain or a new market, you're definitely gonna fail. You're definitely gonna find some unknown areas. So we, like when we keep the first step into a new market or new domain, we don't invest much, because we know that this money is experimental. So we operate in that way. And that's how we are going to scale. So the idea is, when we are entering into any other like markets, it's maybe 6 to 9 months. By the time these 2 3 emerging markets we open, or uh, Canada as a market we open, it will be another 3 months. So that's how we want to gradually scale, and that's where the money will be spent.
What do you think are some hurdles that you'll have to get through as you continue to scale your operations? Like you're already doing a very, very good amount of volume, and you already have like a very solid revenue, but at some point there's going to be probably some hurdles. So do you think, what are some hurdles you already know that are going to be coming up and you have to get over?
So I'll tell you, like, it's not like we did not face any hurdles. We faced a lot of hurdles already. When we are operating between, let's say, US and emerging markets, on the emerging market side, the regulators are not clear, the banks are not clear, the taxation is not clear. On the other side, with US, there's Genius Act, the regulatory clearance is there. Everything is, like super solid. So when we are operating between these two markets, we have to balance. We have to make sure that any, let's say, regulatory challenges that are faced on emerging markets are not passed on to our clients in US. And having that safety net is super important. And we spend a lot of time and money to maintain that safety net. I think that's one of the hurdle, and this is gonna be always there whether we enter Vietnam, whether we enter Nigeria or Indonesia, and all these other markets. In addition to this, I think we face regulatory uncertainties in these emerging markets, which is always like a risk, and that's why we don't, invest a lot into setting up the local infrastructure. So that's second thing. Third thing I would say is more around like merchant on record setups, because when you are setting up merchant on record, you have to basically, be mindful of what the control is with the MOR versus what is the control with the actual merchant, what is the control with us, are we managing the compliances for the merchant on record or not, these kind of things. And now another hurdle, which is a funny thing, is like many times the clients say that they're doing something, but they are actually doing something else, and they try to trick the payment service providers to just get access to the technical infrastructure. So we are always monitoring the transactions, we are always monitoring the chargebacks, and making sure that the clients are not doing any funny business. So yeah, so that's I think these are some of the challenges, and we have the mitigations in place for these challenges as well.
And what do you think is going to take Credible from 0 to 100, or maybe 1 to 100, from here on out? Do you think that the amount you're raising is going to be enough, or are you already planning another round in later stages? Um, and that these are like two questions packaged into one.
So I'll tell you, like, let's compare Credible with Stripe. Stripe is doing little over $16 trillion in payment volume per year. Credible has not even done 1 billion yet. This year, maybe we will close at somewhere around 3 billion in the total, volume processed. And still, we are like extremely small if you compare with players like Stripe or Adyen and all. The way I see this is like, there's a lot of growth room, uh, and to grow like at this stage, whatever we are raising is more like confidence building exercise for us, with the investors, with the market and everything. And we will be raising another round, where we will have, let's say, a bigger raise, as well as a bigger benefit for our existing investors who are participating in this round, right? So that's how we look at it.
All right. Um, yeah, I think we're very much close to the end here. We pretty much covered all the investor related stuff that I wanted to go through. Uh, as a podcast, covers all the product related and founder journey stuff, which the audience can go and listen to later when that's released next week. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Shrii, do you have any words, that you want to share with us? Because the ICO did just get announced, so maybe you have some thoughts that you could offer us for this closing segment.
I think, like in general, I'm pretty excited. I have strong faith in what MetaDAO has been doing in the space, and I think we will attract the right set of investors, and we will give them the right value back as well. So that's where I'm focused on. And frankly speaking, me and my co-founder, we both are just heads down, focusing on the business day and night. I'm not sure if we have done a great job in communicating, our raise or MetaDAO launch. So if people have any questions, they can reach out to us on Telegram. They can reach out to us on Twitter. We are always there, and we're always here to answer any questions regarding the raise or in general about the project.
All right, I think that's it for today then. And thank you, Shrii, for coming on today. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.